Welcome to this week's Friday show. I'm Drewe Conley with World News. The world gained another laughingstock earlier this week as a Dutch motivational speaker attempted to lower his legal age. Emil Radovan approached a Dutch court to make the case that because he felt like a 49-year-old, his actual age of 69 should be overruled, saying that a case like this runs parallel with other people's desire to change one's name or gender. Unremarkably, the court denied Radovan, under the logic that unlike name or gender, there are laws that depend on one's age like voting and school attendance, further claiming that if his demands were met, age requirements would lose purpose. Radovan has since announced that he intends to make an appeal. On the opposite end of the world, a journalist was removed from a trip to the Australian Parliament earlier this week due to exposing too much skin. During a parliamentary session, Patricia Caravelis of ABC News was requested by an attendant to cover up for showing too much shoulder. Posting about the incident on Twitter, Caravelis received overwhelming support to what many have claimed an outrageous decision and a bad joke, with other journalists pointing out that actual members of Parliament have worn similar clothing before. Defense Minister Christopher Pyre has since apologized to the journalists on behalf of the government. Next, we'll hear Joe with National News. Welcome to this week's Friday show. I'm Drewe Conley with World News. The cover story revolving around the demise of Washington Post writer Jamal Khashoggi has evolved since it was released last week. The government of Saudi Arabia has now confirmed that Khashoggi was killed during the visit to the Saudi consulate in Turkey, though they refused to admit that the crown prince of the nation, Mohammed bin Salman, had any knowledge or direct involvement in the killing or cover-up. In response, Turkish President Erdogan had insisted the entire act was premeditated and that the investigation into the matter will not cease until clear-cut answers are found. We will keep you updated as more information surfaces. Thanks, Peyton. A terrible accident occurred in Southern California when a twin-engine plane malfunctioned mid-flight and crashed into a home earlier this week. The pilot, 75-year-old Antonia Pastilli, took off from Fullerton, California. The plane climbed to just under 8,000 feet when it reportedly caught fire and began disassembling before plummeting to the ground without a distress call. The aircraft crashed into a family home in Yorba Linda. The crash left 5 dead, including the pilot. 3 others were injured as falling debris damaged homes across a 4-block area. We will keep you updated as information surfaces. The world of music had an abrupt shakeup earlier in the week when Grammy-nominated rapper 21 Savage was arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to the shock of many. With this arrest came the revelation that Savage, whose birth name is Shaya Ben Abraham Joseph, was in fact born in the United Kingdom and came to the United States in 2005. Reportedly, his visa expired in 2006. A lawyer for the rapper stated the arrest was initially based on incorrect information about prior criminal charges, and that ICE would use this as a means of getting to him, despite a pending U visa application. We'll be right back after this break. Thanks, Cheyenne. The U.S. government shutdown, 28 days old, is now the longest shutdown in U.S. history with no end in sight. The back and forth between President Trump and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi has gotten quite personal and childish, but no one knows how and when it will end. President Trump made peculiar changes to the White House food services. The national champion Clemson Tigers were greeted with unusual food items for such a visit from various fast food establishments, such as McDonald's, Wendy's, and Domino's Pizza. The president boasted that it was all paid for out of his own pocket. Citing the shutdown for the lack of White House chefs, Trump estimated between 300 and 1,000 hamburgers were purchased, on top of numerous fries and pizzas. An interesting choice of meal, to say the least. Elsewhere, a shooting took place outside of a Utah mall earlier in the week. 2 unnamed individuals, a man and a woman, were shot near the southeast entrance to the Fashion Place Mall. The shooting sprang from an altercation between 2 opposing gangs in the mall before the scuffle moved outside, where the gunfire began. The suspects in the shooting have been identified and arrested. The female victim was not seriously injured and was released from the hospital later in the day, while the man remains in critical condition. We'll be right back after this break.